Elias Khoury is a Lebanese novelist, playwright, critic, and prominent public intellectual. He has published 10 novels, which have been translated into several foreign languages, including English, as well as several works of literary criticism. He has also written 3 plays. Between 1993 and 2009, he served as editor of Al-Mulhaq, the weekly cultural supplement of the Lebanese daily newspaper Al-Nahar. Biography. Elias Khoury was born in 1948 into a Greek Orthodox middle-class family in the predominantly Christian Ashrafi district of Beirut. This was the year that Palestinian refugees came to Lebanon and Jordan. In 1967, as Lebanese intellectual life was becoming increasingly polarized, with the opposition taking on a radical Arab nationalist and pro-Palestinian hue, 19-year-old Khoury traveled to Jordan, where he visited a Palestinian refugee camp and enlisted in Fatah, the largest resistance organization in the Palestinian Liberation Organization. He left Jordan after thousands of Palestinians were killed or expelled in the wake of an attempted coup against King Hussein in Black September. He continued his studies in Paris and wrote a dissertation on the 1860 Lebanon conflict. After returning to Lebanon, Khoury became a researcher at the Palestine Liberation Organization's research center in Beirut. He took part in the Lebanese civil war that broke out in 1975, was seriously injured, and temporarily lost his eyesight. Academic and literary career. In 1972, joined and became a member of the editorial board of the journal Malakif. Other members included Adonis, Hisham Sharabi, and somewhat later, Palestinian national poet Mahmoud Darwish. Of this group, Khoury later remarked that it was important, but marginal to politics. We were neither on the liberal right nor on the classical left. Intellectually speaking, we were very much linked to the Palestinian experience. From 1975 to 1979, Khoury was editor of Shun Philastin, collaborating with Mahmoud Darwish. From 1981 to 1982, he was editorial director of Al-Kamil. From 1983 to 1990, he was editorial director of the cultural section of Al-Safir. He has been editor of Al-Mulhaq, the cultural supplement of Al-Nahar, since its revival after the end of the Civil War. He has taught at Columbia University and New York University in New York City, and at the American University of Beirut, the Lebanese University, the Lebanese-American University in Lebanon. Literary career. Khoury published his first novel in 1975, An Ilaka al-Daira. It was followed in 1977 by The Little Mountain, set during the Lebanese Civil War, a conflict which Khoury initially thought would be a catalyst for progressive change. Other works include The Journey of Little Gandhi, about a rural immigrant to Beirut who lives through the events of the Civil War, and Gate of the Sun. Gate of the Sun is an epic retelling of the life of Palestinian refugees in Lebanon since the 1948 Palestinian exodus, which also addresses the ideas of memory, truth, and storytelling. The book was adapted as a film of the same name by Egyptian director Yusri Nasrallah. When interviewed for the Israeli mainstream daily Yedioth Ahronoth after the publication of the Hebrew translation of Gate of the Sun, Khoury remarked, "When I was working on this book, one discovered that the other is the mirror of the eye, and given that I am writing about half a century of Palestinian experience, it is impossible to read this experience otherwise than in the mirror of the Israeli other. Therefore, when I was writing this novel, I put a lot of effort into trying to take apart not only the Palestinian stereotype but also the Israeli stereotype as it appears in Arab literature and especially in the Palestinian literature of Ghassan Kanafani, for example, or even of Emil Habibi. The Israeli is not only the policeman of the occupier, he is the other, who also has a human experience, and we need to read this experience. Our reading of their experience is a mirror to our reading of the Palestinian experience. Khoury's novel, Yalo, depicted a former militiaman accused of crimes during Lebanon's civil war. He described the use of torture in the Lebanese judicial system. The title refers to the name of a Palestinian Arab village that was destroyed and in territory annexed by Israel during the 1967 war. All the inhabitants were expelled and most went to Jordan. Khoury's novels are notable for the complex approach to political themes and fundamental questions of human behavior. His narrative technique often involves an interior monologue, at times approaching a stream of consciousness. In recent works he has tended to use a considerable element of colloquial Arabic, although the language of his novels remains primarily modern Standard Arabic, also called Fusha. This use of dialect forms adds to the credibility and immediacy of the narrative voice, while use of dialect in dialogue is relatively common in modern Arabic literature. Khoury also uses it in the main narrative. This is unusual in contemporary literature and has become part of the narrative technique of his works. Khoury's works have been translated and published internationally in Catalan, Dutch, English, French, German, Hebrew, Italian, Portuguese, Norwegian, Spanish, and Swedish. Political activity. Al-Mulhaq, under Khoury's editorship, became the tribune of opposition to controversial aspects of the post-Civil War reconstruction of Beirut led by businessman and politician Rafi al-Hariri. The newspaper has sharply criticized destruction of surviving elements of the city's architectural heritage in the Burj area and the old Jewish quarter of Rue Wadi Abu Jamil. In March 2001, Khoury signed a statement, along with 13 other Arab intellectuals, opposing the holding of a Holocaust denial conference in Beirut. The Israeli ambassador to France praised his statement in an article in the newspaper Le Monde. Khoury responded angrily to the ambassador's remarks, pointing to the Israeli repression of the Palestinian Intifada. Khoury, along with Samir Kassir and other intellectuals and political activists, was involved in the establishment of the Democratic Left movement in Lebanon, founded in September 2004. Published works: novels, An Ilaka al-Dara, Al-Jabal al-Safir, English translation, Little Mountain, Abwab al-Madina, English translation, The Gates of the City, Wuju al-Bayda, English translation, White Masks, Rilat Gandhi al-Safir, English translation, The Journey of Little Gandhi, Mamlakat al-Ghuraba, English translation, The Kingdom of Strangers, Majma al-Azra, Bab al-Shams, English translation, Gate of the Sun, Raihat al-Saban, Yalu, English translations, Yalo, Karanahan Aima, English translations, As Though She Were Sleeping, Al-Mariya al-Maksura, English translations, Broken Mirrors, Sinokal, Plays Short Stories, Al-Mutada, W.A.L. Criticism.He, Razafaya Nagud al-Shir, Al-Dakira al-Mafkuda, Tajribat al-Bath, A New FQ, Zaman al-Italil, Bibliography, Carat Archipelago Books, org, Carat Archipelago Books, org, Carat Kassier, Samir, Histoire de Beyrouth, Paris, Fayard.